Okay, so for demonstration purposes, I've sewn part of the blanket together, but not all of it. So for round one, it's quite simple, so I'm just going to do the round one's going to be quite a little short video for you. We join with the white yarn into a corner space and we do one chain, and as you know, I like to do one chain with the tail. And then that's not going to count as a stitch, that's just literally there to anchor things. And for this we're doing UK double crochets, so that's one double crochet into the corner and two chain and one double crochet. So that's the same for every corner. You'll do one double crochet, two chain, one double crochet, and then we are literally for the first round working a double crochet, that's a UK double crochet, all the way along, one into every stitch all along each side. So I'm not going to make you sit and watch me for a great length of time because that's pointless. So your corners are one double crochet, two chain, one double crochet, and then one double crochet literally all the way across, and repeat that all the way around the blanket and then slip stitch to join. So that just sets a nice firm edging to then work subsequent edgings on. So I'll let you finish that and then we'll come back in round two. Right, so we've gone all the way around the blanket with the double crochet, and what you should have is on the long edges you should have 212 stitches, not including the corner chains, so that's double crochets, and on the shorter edge you should have 170 double crochet. So it's always worth checking these things just as you go along. It's not 100% essential to every one stitch, but it will make a difference if you keep increasing or decreasing. The numbers won't work as well for you. So we're now on round two and we've got the jade yarn, and again we're going to start in a corner, so find your corner space and attach your yarn in the usual way. And this time we're going to do 3 chains, and this time these chains are counting as a treble. So where before that single one didn't count for anything, these definitely do. So I've done one already and that's the other 2. So I've got a little chain of 3 there in the corner, and then we're going to do a treble and 2 chains and then another 2 trebles. So nice easy corner, very similar to several that we've done before. And then again, this is more of a foundation type round, in that you are then going to be doing 1 treble into every double crochet of the row before. So I'll just do half a dozen of these and show you how it's going to start looking. So you're going into the full part of every stitch, don't sort of work into the back of anything, or you know, there's no little fancy extras being worked on this. It's just a nice easy straightforward treble. So you can see there how your corner should look. So you've got the original chain of 3, you've got a treble, 2 chains and another 2 trebles in there, and then 1 treble into each stitch. You're going to go all the way along every corner. Now from that point on we'll have 2 trebles, 2 chain and another 2 trebles worked into the corner, and then when you get all the way back round to here you just slip stitch to join near the top of those 3. So again, you don't need to watch me doing that, you can just sit back and enjoy doing that next section, and then we'll join you in round 3, which does get a little bit more tricky. So we'll see you in the next round. Okay, so welcome back to round 3 of the edge of the blanket. Now, round 3 is one of the more complex ones, just in that there's a lot of counting. It's not that it's particularly difficult, so I'm going to try and do this quite slowly. There's a lot of counting involved, and as you'll see, I have popped some stitch markers in already. This is mainly to help me aim for the right place as I'm showing you. You can either add these in before or after, or not at all. It's entirely up to you. I find it quite useful to, particularly for this round, we're going to be doing some long stitches, some front post quadruple trebles. That's a nice mouthful for you. So I have marked the stitches that we are planning to work into, and I've also taken a good look at the picture, because I always think pictures are great for this. So look at the bigger image that we've given you and just see approximately where you are going to be working into, and if you're happier marking a stitch like I am, then do. So let's get started. So we're on with the mustard yarn, and we're in one of the top corners going down one of the long sides. So the instructions start with the long side. We are now anchoring on with just a 1 chain, and I'm just going to tuck that out of the way. And oops, fighting with me. There we go. So get your hands set up before you start. And for the corners are 1 UK double crochet. That first one's always a little bit faffy, but don't worry about it. 2 chains and another double crochet. So that's my corner started there. Right, then we've got 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So I am going with that one and that one. Now you're going to miss your next stitch, so we will be ignoring that stitch, but don't worry about that one right now, because we're going to do our first of a front post quadruple treble. So 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps. So you've now got 5 bits on your needle. You've got your original bit there and then 4 wraps here. I've marked this stitch so I know which one I'm going in for, and a front post one is where you go from the right through to the left behind the stitch. So pull that across, through 2, round and through 2, round and through 2, round and through 2, round and through 2. So you can see you've got a really long twisted stitch there, rather pretty. Now you then ignore the next stitch behind on the row below, so that's the one you're ignoring. We're going to be going into the next one, and then you are going to do 10 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we should be approximately where the stitch is. You can decide which stitch you want to work into. I want it to go into that one, so that's my choice. It does explain in the instructions about counting, so I have moved 2, 4, 6, that's 7 stitches across, and I'm looking at going into the 8th stitch there. Then we're doing another front post quadruple treble, so 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps. We're going to the stitch I've marked, going from the right to the left behind it. Grab your yarn, bring it back through. Okay, then wrap. Oh, lost one. Oh, they are a bit fiddly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Try again. Grab it, bring it back through. Wrap through 2. 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 And you can see that does actually, without puckering the blanket, gets you back to where you need to be. We're now going to miss a stitch here and work 20 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now you can see approximately where I've put my next mark. I like things to be quite symmetrical, so I've marked this stitch here, which is next to that one. Hopefully you can see that I've kept it fairly even as to where you're working your stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps, and it's another front post quadruple treble. So just flick that out the way now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And don't worry, your stitches do even out as you go across. So if you've got one like I have there that's slightly longer, not going to worry about it. So that one we've already worked into. That one we're going to miss. So you always miss the one that's with it, and then we're working another 20 double crochet. And then after these 20, things just change ever so slightly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So for this next one, you're not working such a long stitch. It's a shorter stitch because we're going into the white section of the border, and it's going to be for the next two. For these smaller ones, we're working a shorter front post treble, and you want it about central. Okay, so if you want to be a stitch further over, that's fine, but I need these to be about central, so I've marked where I think the centre is, as much by eye as anything else. Obviously you can adjust it slightly one way or the other. Now we're going to do this time a front post double treble. So a double treble just has 2 wraps because we need a shorter stitch, but again you still go in from the right hand side to the left hand side and bring your yarn back through. That's 1, 2, 3 wraps. Again, you miss a stitch and then you start with your double crochet, and we've got another 20. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and we should be approximately where my next marker is. And I'm going to do another front post double treble around the stitch I've chosen. 1, 2, 3, then you miss your stitch and you start with your double crochets again. Now I'm just going to pause there. You're basically going to repeat this idea all the way down. So where you have the longer stitches, this is why I think it'll pay to pre-mark them. So where at the beginning I marked them, the big squares, you're going into this sandy coloured row. The small squares that we've done, or shapes that we've done, you're going into the white row. So again, this is a big square, so we're going into the sandy row. So when you're going 20 stitches between each one, plus the one you've missed at the top underneath. And for the bigger squares, you're working into the sandy coloured row, doing a front post quadruple treble. And for the short, small squares, you're doing a front post double treble, but each one is 20 apart till we get to the other end. I won't make you watch me do them all. The ends, of course, are slightly different because you only have 10 stitches between that stitch, the end at the other end, and where you're going to be working this stitch. So I'll come back to you in a minute with the other end of this row and the corner, and how we then go around and start to work the shorter end, which is just slightly different. But I'll get to that point and I will pick it back up at the next corner. Right, so we are looking now at the corner for round 3. So you've done the long side, and then you've now got to your corner. We're going to do a double crochet, 2 chains, and another double crochet. As you've worked into the corner, you've done your last lot of 20, your front post quadruple treble, then you've done another 10 double crochet, another front post quadruple treble into that last stitch there, and then another 2 stitches, another 2 double crochet, and then we've hit the corner and you've done a double crochet, 2 chain and a double crochet. So because things are generally mirror image on these things, so we're now going to do another 2 double crochet there to get us round the corner, and we're doing another front post quadruple treble. So I've done my 4 wraps. I'm going down to go right to left, bring that yarn through. You don't want it too sloppy, but also you don't want it too tight because you don't want it to concertina the blanket in. Oops. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Then as before, we miss that stitch, starting the next one, and we're doing 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we should be approximately where we need to be working the next front post quadruple treble. I've picked my stitch in advance. Obviously fit yours in as to what looks best on your blanket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Miss that stitch, so you've got one worked into there, miss one, start your double crochets again, and we're back into working all across the shorter ends. You're working 20 double crochet between the front post quadruple treble. So again, we'll work all the way across, so I'll work another 20 stitches, another one of the long stitches here, another 20 stitches, and then a long stitch here. So on the short end they're all front post quadruple trebles because they're all bigger squares at either end. So I'm going to stop round 3 there, because basically you just continue until you've gone all the way round, and then we'll rejoin you again at round 4. Okay. So now we have finished round 3, and these are how your corners should look with these, and we're now about to start round 4. For round 4 we're using the emerald, and you start by joining into any of the corner spaces. So for this one we need to chain 4, so I'm doing 1 with the tail again, and 1, 2, 3. Now that counts as a half treble with 2 chains, and I'm now going to work another half treble. So that's where you wrap, go into your stitch, pull your yarn back through so you've got your 3, and then wrap and go through all 3 at once. Okay, we're going to be working more of those obviously on this one. Now we're going to then do a half treble into each of the next 2 stitches. So I'm going right into my very first one. Tuck that green behind. So remember, you pull it through all 3 wraps. So it's wrap into the stitch, grab it, pull it back through, wrap, and through all 3. So we've got those extra 2 stitches there. Now we're now going to work around these long stitches. So these long stitches are like the trunks of the palm trees. We're going to do a double treble, a front post double treble, a front post treble, and then another front post double treble all around the next stitch. So your double treble is where you wrap twice, so 1, 2. Just going to tuck that yarn out of the way there, we don't want that. Then you go round the back of the stem and bring it back through, round and through 2, round and through 2, round and through 2. That's your double treble. Then a front post treble, so that's just round, bring it back through, round and through 2, round and through 2. So there was one less wrap there, and then another double treble. So that's 2 wraps, round, bring it back through, round and through 2, round and through 2, round and through 2. So you've missed a stitch at, it's a little bit tricky to see, but you've got your post, your long stitch here. You've missed one there, and you have to miss one at the other side as well. And then we're going to work, for this one it's going to be 8 half trebles. So we've missed a stitch there at this side as well. And that's 2. So don't forget you're bringing it all the way through. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're missing that stitch and we're working around this one. So again, it's a double treble to start with. So we've got 4 loops there, round and through 2, round and through 2, round and through 2. Then a normal treble, front post treble. Okay, round and through 2 and round and through 2, and then the double treble again, which is wrapping twice. 1, 2, 3. And you can see how these are starting to form the tops of the new palm trees. Now again, we need to miss a stitch here, so I've just marked that one. I'm now going to take that one out because I know which one it is. Mark them if you need to, and if you're happy not to, just up to you on that one. So we're now working 18 half trebles. And don't forget, if you are following this from another country, they are UK half trebles. If you start working the American versions, you won't end up with a blanket that looks quite like ours. So I'm going to get nearly to the end and then I will just stop and count. That's a blanket now on my knee. And then I'll just work you one more set. Nearly there with this one. I think this could be my last stitch, so let's just check. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18. I miscounted there. 19, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Oh, I'm right to here. Oh, no, I'm not. Beg your pardon. I'm only doing 18. Just again, double check my counting because it will affect the next row if I've got it wrong. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. That's right. We were doing 20 on the previous round. So we've got a double treble. And a front post treble. And a double treble. And then don't forget you're missing a stitch again and you'll be working into that stitch, and we're back to doing half trebles across. So again, you want another 18. Now the nice thing with this side is, or this round, there's each time you're going to be working 18 between them and exactly the same combination of front post double trebles, a treble and another front post double treble around each one. The only difference obviously is at the ends, and with that one you're only working 8 stitches between doing the front post double trebles and trebles. With here you do 2 stitches again at either side of the corners, and the corners are all worked with a half treble, 2 chain and another half treble. So we'll pick up as we've finished that one and we'll get on to round 5 shortly. Okay. So I've brought us to a corner, so I'm just going to work a corner for you just so that you're sure that you're working them right. So at this point I am going to work a half treble into 8 individual stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we work a front post double treble, a front post treble, another front post double treble up to here. Then, as usual, you're missing the stitch just at the side, so in the final 2 stitches of this row I'm going to work a half treble into each one. So that's those 2. For your corner, as I mentioned before, you work a half treble, then a 2 chain, and then a half treble. And that's taking us round the corner. Then 2 half trebles, one into each of the next 2 stitches, and then as before you've got a front post double treble, and a front post treble, and then a front post double treble. You miss your stitch again at the side, and then we're going to be working 8 half trebles across here. So I'll just work a couple and then I'll stop and show you how we look. So that's what you're looking to achieve in a corner, and then you continue with the same style of sequence that you've just done all down the other side. So each side is worked in exactly the same way on this row. You just obviously work some more repetitions on the longer sides. Okay, I'm going to leave round 4 there. When you get right back to the beginning, you just slip stitch to join into your last corner, and then we'll join you again with round 5. Okay, so we've finished round 4. We're now on to round 5. Round 5 has quite a few similarities. There's just a couple of slight differences to this. So again, as usual, you're joining in a corner space, and for this one we are doing 4 chains to begin the round. So I've got 1 with the tail, and 1, 2, 3 with the working yarn, and then that will count, by the way, as a half treble and 2 chain, and then we're doing another half treble into the corner space. Okay, then we're going to do a half treble into the back loop of the next 2 stitches. So that is, I'll just turn this over, your back loop is this bit. So if you might remember on some of the other pieces like this here, rather than working into the stitches at the top, which would be there, we're going into the back of them, and it can only really happen on a half treble because you get this extra loop. So I'll just set my hand up again, and so I've wrapped, I'm going into that one, move that out of the way, and then as it's a half treble, this first one is going to be a little bit fiddly. It's very easy to lose your yarn. There we go, that's one. So wrap again into the next one. They start to become easier to find as you work more of them. So they're in the back there. So that's in the next 2. And then we're going to be working into these. So we are doing a front post double treble and then a front post treble all into around the next stitch. That's this one. So you're missing some stitches here, but that's fine. So a double treble, wrap twice. We're going in from right to left behind that first long stitch. 1, 2, 3. Then we're doing a treble, so that's 1 wrap, and we're going in around the same stitch. So that's just a normal treble as you finish off. Next we're going to do another front post treble, but this time around the next stitch. So these are the fronds of the palm tree. Okay, and then we're going to do a front post treble round the next stitch and a front post double treble also round that next stitch. So you've got a pair there, a single one and a pair there, and the end two, just remember, are that little bit longer, they're double trebles. Then we're working on the 6 middle stitches here, so not those, we've got them 6 in the middle. So we're going to work half trebles into the back loop only, so that's there, of each of the next 6 stitches, and you can see how once you've worked a couple of them, that stitch presents itself quite nicely. 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you can see how that's pushed that bit forward there, and that's what we want. So you're missing your next stitch, and we're doing a front post double treble around this first long stitch. It's just fighting with me at the moment, how dare it. 1, 2, 3, wrap once, because we're doing then a front post treble, another front post treble, this time around the middle stitch, and then another front post treble around the third stitch, followed by a front post double treble. So that's a double wrap on that one. Okay, and you can see how the top of the palm trees are working out again. And then this time, obviously you have to get from one end to the other for these. So we're doing the centre 16 stitches, which should be, there's 18 on the row below, so you miss your first one, but don't forget you're going into that back loop only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just sliding a bit is my work, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, and then we're going to repeat this again. So a double wrap, find that back loop there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1 standard front post treble, another front post treble, another front post treble, and then a front post double treble. So you're going to work your way all the way around the edges doing these. So you've got 16 in between, and then that stitch combination to work, and at the ends you're just doing the 6 in between there and then 2 here. Each corner will be worked as a half treble with 2 chains and another half treble. So you need to get all the way round obviously and fasten off, and then we've got 2 really easy rounds to finish off. So we'll see you in a few moments in the next one. So here we are with round 5 finished. We're about to start round 6, and this, you again start in a corner with the turquoise yarn and do 2 chains. So I've done one with the tail and one with the working yarn, and then we're going to work another 2 half trebles into the corner. Now this is a nice repetitive row. We're going to work half trebles all the way across, but I'm going to start with these first 3 stitches, and we're just working into the back loop only of the top this time, not the one round the back of the half trebles. So try and keep control of that little tail. So you're going just into this back bit of the stitch, apart from, it's not playing, apart from when you get to these raised stitches, and there's 5 at a time. So these 5 you're working into the whole stitch to get some nice stability into the edge. So you're going in there, that's 3, 4. So these are all UK half trebles, so you can see how I've gone into the full bit of the stitch there. But when you come to the in-between stitches, you're working into just that back loop there. So however many stitches you did on the row below, you're now working into those, but into the back loop only. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches there. So that's 1, 2, 3. Can you see there how I'm going into that loop? Tail's causing me a little bit of aggravation. Never mind. Can tell we're nearly at the end. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at that point, and then I'm back to this set of 5, and I'm going into both. So underneath both, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see I'm going in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my 5 stitches of the top there that you anchor into fully, and then we're back to just working into the back loop only. Here we go. So it does look to pull a bit, but as you work across the row, this is going to even itself out, hopefully quite nicely. It seems to. So you keep working across. So every stitch that's between these sets of 5, you're working just into the back loop only. Every set of 5, you're working into the full stitch, and you're doing that all the way around. And then you will have 3 of the half trebles in the corner. So when you get to the end of this round, do slip stitch to join, but don't fasten off, because we're then going to do another round just to firm the edge of the blanket up. So I'll let you carry on with those. Just a reminder, you're working into the back loop only of the stitches in between, and you're working into the full stitch of the sets of 5, and do that all the way round with 3 in the corner. So we'll see you again in a short while, and I will show you the final edging on the blanket. Okay. Right, so we have finished round 6. We're on to round 7, which is lovely and easy now. I did say don't fasten off at the end of the last one. You slip stitch together and work 2 chains, which counts as your first half treble. Then we are going to really simply work half trebles into every stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and this will just firm off the edging for you and give it a nice neat finish. So we're not doing it any fancier than that. You literally go all the way round working a half treble into every one. Oh, what you should do, actually, I've just realised, you work 3 half trebles into the corner one, into the corner stitch. So I got carried away there and so excited to be on this last little bit. So I should have done 1, 2, 3 half trebles into the corner, and then it's a single half, an easy half treble, I should say, into everyone. So don't get overexcited like I just did and miss that one. So you've got your 2 chain here, you've got your 3 half trebles into your corner, and then just individual half trebles all the way around till the end. So I will let you finish that one off, and then we'll see you just for the final show. Okay, bye. So here we are, all finished. I hope you've enjoyed making this as much as I have. So take care and have a lovely summer. Bye for now.